So yeah, this has been obviously a work in the making to get to this point for a little while, because you're an extremely busy person with obviously Sea Sisters and things like that, which is really, really exciting, and I'm looking forward to like delving into that. But I think we should warm up by obviously saying that our history goes back around about 10 years or so.
Yeah, back to Oxford.
Back to Oxford in the first ever Jamie's Italian, where I feel...
The flagship.
The flagship. I always have to say that, because everyone's like, no, what was that restaurant about? And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
Right,
when
this
it was
is another level that you've never experienced.
Yeah, because it's quite crazy, because I do think back to that time, and like when I looked at Padella opening and stuff like that, it was like so many similar recipes and similar quality, and like I think the essence of what it was trying to create was like good quality, hearty food at a price in which was accessible to people to be able to experience, and a bit of a cultural thing as well. I think it just expanded to a point, and I'm sure like when you look at the major elements of it, there was just like there was too many lost leaders basically. I think, you know, they had amazing big sites, and the restaurant industry completely and utterly changed.
Absolutely. That was a bit of a grounding for me with, you know, Italian food. I didn't realise it at the time, but just sort of the thorough training, and like every day before service they would bring out a couple of dishes. You know, my mum was she's a chef and a cook, and has been for my whole life. And I've grown up with amazing food, but that was a introduction to sort of the restaurant world, and having grown up with good food and then seeing it in a restaurant scene, I loved eating all of that food before service and like trying it all, but I never thought the big step was going to be becoming a chef and working in restaurants as a career. I was just getting stoned and rolling into work, trying some nice cham before service. And it was great, but actually learning those recipes had such an important part of my career.
And also I think learning the provenance of food, like, you know, understanding where different varieties of cheese have come from, or, you know, like particular varieties of fruit, vegetables or things like that. And just like, I don't know, even learning about like balsamic vinegar and things like that, like, you know, the aging process and just the heritage that has gone behind all of that kind of stuff, and also the cultural reference to all of it as well.
And grating all of that Parmesan. Pre-service Parmesan job. Bloody hell. A bit like muscles popping out that you didn't know you had.
That then led you on to quite a time in Trullo.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't plan on working in an Italian restaurant. I worked for Moro for like a month or 2 months. Shout out to Sam Clark. He took me in, and I was basically the last one in, first one out, because they'd had so many commis come in before me. It was run up to Christmas. The menu there is delicious food. It's like 7 starters, and you've got a tiny little section. And for me, I was like, I've got no idea what I'm doing. You know, so many jobs to do, and there's already 2 commis before me that are trying to do the same. So basically, Sam Clark, the legend, called up Tim from Trullo and said, I've got a really good guy here. He's got a good palate, he knows his food, but we just don't have the space. We need someone that's knows what they're doing and can like hold the fort a bit. And Tim called me up and was like, hey mate, I'm a friend of Sam's, I've got a restaurant in Highbury, have you heard of Trullo? I was like, no. He was like, well, it's Italian food, why don't you just come in and have a trial? And I was like, oh, I've done Italian food, man. Like, I worked at Jamie's Italian. I'm like, my mum used to love cooking Moro, you know, ottolenghi, that kind of stuff. So that's what I wanted to do, that's what I knew. But I went in and it was the best decision I ever made. Trullo was one of the best places to work as a new chef, to train, to learn. Senior chefs, Connor, Tim, Adam, I learned so much from all of those guys. And we're so tight now because of it, and yeah, I owe them a lot, and I loved working there.